Have you ever felt like a prisoner in your own life? Trapped by routines, fears, or expectations that seem impossible to escape? What if I told you that true freedom isn't about changing your circumstances, but changing the way you live within them? What if you could live as if you're already free, starting right now? Today, I want to share with you a captivating Zen story that unveils the secret to living a life of true freedom. By the end of this tale, you'll gain a new perspective, one that has the power to liberate your mind and soul forever. Long ago, in a remote mountain village, there lived a monk named Hiroshi. Hiroshi was widely known for his wisdom and serenity. People would travel from distant lands to seek his guidance, hoping to find answers to the burdens that weighed on their hearts. But Hiroshi's own life had not always been serene. Before becoming a monk, he had been a man of power and wealth. His days were filled with feasts, and his nights were consumed by ambition. Yet, deep inside, he felt imprisoned, a slave to his desires and the constant fear of losing what he had. One fateful night, Hiroshi wandered into a dense forest to escape the noise of a grand banquet. The silence of the woods enveloped him, and for the first time he heard the sound of his own breath. In that moment, he realized that his chains were not made of metal, but of his own thoughts and attachments. He left everything behind and devoted his life to the path of Zen. Years later, Hiroshi had become the master of a quiet monastery nestled high in the mountains. One day, a young samurai named Kenji arrived at the monastery gates. Kenji's face was stern, his posture rigid and his sword sharp, yet his eyes betrayed a deep restlessness. "Master Hiroshi," Kenji said, bowing respectfully, "I am a warrior, trained to conquer and protect. Yet I feel as though I am always at war, not with enemies, but with myself. How can I find peace?" Hiroshi studied the young man for a moment, then said, "Come, walk with me." Hiroshi led Kenji through the monastery gardens, where cherry blossoms swayed gently in the breeze. "Kenji," Hiroshi said, "are you truly free?" Kenji frowned. "Of course not, master. My duties bind me, my honor binds me. Even my desires for peace bind me." Hiroshi smiled. "And yet, freedom is not something you wait for, nor is it something that can be given to you. Freedom is how you choose to live now, even amidst your bindings." Kenji's brow furrowed. "How can that be? If I am chained, how can I act as though I am free?" Hiroshi paused beneath a large tree and pointed to a bird singing on its branch. "Do you see this bird? It flies not because the sky grants it permission, but because it knows it was born to soar. Even when it lands, it remains free, for its spirit is unchained. The same is true for you, Kenji." Kenji's heart stirred, but doubt lingered. "Master, can you teach me how to live like this bird?" Hiroshi nodded. "Follow me." Hiroshi led Kenji to a small, empty room in the monastery. The only furniture was a single mat on the floor. The room was simple, yet its tranquility was profound. "Sit," Hiroshi instructed. Kenji obeyed, placing his sword to the side. "Close your eyes," Hiroshi said. "Now tell me, what is binding you right now?" Kenji sighed. "My responsibilities, my fears, my need to be strong." "And where do these bindings exist?" Hiroshi asked. Kenji opened his eyes. "In my mind," Hiroshi smiled. "Exactly. The chains you feel are forged by your thoughts. If you can master your mind, you can break free of those chains." Over the days that followed, Hiroshi taught Kenji the art of mindfulness and presence. He showed him how to focus on his breath, how to observe his thoughts without judgment, and how to let go of attachments to outcomes. At first, Kenji struggled. His warrior's mind resisted the stillness, craving action and control. But gradually he began to notice moments of clarity, brief glimpses of a freedom that existed not outside him, but within. One day, Hiroshi gave Kenji a peculiar task. "Take this jar of water and walk to the edge of the cliff. Carry it as though it is the most precious thing in the world. But remember, you must also let it go." Kenji was puzzled but obeyed. He walked carefully, mindful of every step, feeling the weight of the jar and the coolness of the water within. When he reached the cliff's edge, he paused, staring at the vast sky before him. "Now let it go," Hiroshi's voice echoed in his mind. Kenji hesitated. The jar felt like a part of him now, a burden he had learned to carry with care. But with a deep breath, he released it. The jar shattered on the rocks below, and for a moment Kenji felt an overwhelming lightness. When he returned to the monastery, Hiroshi was waiting. What did you learn? He asked. Kenji's eyes shone with newfound understanding. I learned that freedom is not holding on or letting go. It is living fully in each moment, unchained by fear or desire. Hiroshi smiled. And now you are free. Kenji's life changed that day. He returned to his duties as a samurai, but he carried himself differently. He was no longer a prisoner of his mind, for he had learned to live as if he were already free. And so I ask you, what are the chains that bind you? Is it fear, doubt, or the weight of expectations? Remember, freedom is not a destination. It is a way of being. Live as if you're already free and watch how your world transforms. The journey begins now. Are you ready to take the first step?